From the heartland to the Pacific Northwest, this country is divided by politics and ideology. It's time to tune out the negativity and get back to the basics. It's time to find common ground. Now, I'm a straight white male who uses the N-word. To be clear, when I say I use the N-word, I don't mean that I sing along with it in songs or use the A version as a term of endearment for my buddies. No, I mean I use it as the good Lord intended. A powerful insult with a hard R at the end. Now, one could speculate that my prejudices took root in childhood because I grew up in the rural Midwest surrounded by people who look and sound exactly like me. But that would be wrong. No parents would dare speak an intolerant word in fear of setting off a rebellion in the minds of their daughters that would drive them to run off to the city in a lust-filled panic. Can't blame TV and the media either, because nearly every program and movie glorifies the lifestyle of these people. No, my hatred begins where most hatred begins in this country, and that would be the South. When I moved to Florida, I immediately felt a strong connection with those who shared the hate I felt for the obnoxious behavior, bad attitudes, entitled demands, and threats of violence. At my job, I could feel my blood boil with every one of them bragging about how powerful and important they were in their hometowns. To hear them talk, you think they're all kings and queens or something. And I swear to God, if it was so great, go back to where you came from. I mean, it's not like they're going to tip me anyways, right? Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't exist or bad things should happen. I'm just saying that I don't want to live in the same neighborhood, and I wouldn't want my kids to marry one of them. So that's why I use the N-word, because there's only one word to describe these troublemakers, and that word is New Yorker. And I don't care who hears me say it.
Whoa, what'd you say? I don't believe what I just heard.
The real N-word is probably the most powerful collection of letters in the English language. For the recipient of the slur, it can cause a lifelong trauma. The speaker, if accused, will lose everything from their job, to their money, to their positive standing in society. But somehow the entertainment industry seems to get a pass. We censor Mark Twain, but Quentin Tarantino is still okay. Has Samuel's profits fallen below the level of protection? Or is it just the deceased African-American storage discussion is so artistically compelling it deserves preservation? The music industry likes to say, this is our word, and we're taking the power back. But is it? Why are all the record contracts of these rappers owned by white men? Why are the distributors of this music white? Do you realize that 80% of hip-hop sales are attributed to white people? Why would an industry hell-bent on white knighting and being woke produce racist content for the target audience of millennials and Gen Z who claim to be enlightened beyond the sins of their ancestors? Despite what they say, we know the industry targets kids as early as middle school. Why does a 7th grader in Sheboygan, Wisconsin need to hear the N-word 50 times in one song? Why does the artist need an 8th grader in Kokomo, Indiana to sing the N-word along with them? Wouldn't this be against everything they stand for? Is it any wonder that all these impressionable white kids think that all black people live in the ghetto, can't get state IDs, and talk like they need to be translated by Barbara Billingsley? Let's take a look at one of the most influential radio stations in the country, Power 105.1 in New York. This station, along with 3 of the other top 5 hip-hop stations in the country, are owned by iHeartMedia. The CEO of iHeartMedia is white. On October 14th, 8 out of the top 15 songs for the day use the N-word. Only 60% of the Power 105 audience is black. Only 2% of the businesses in New York are black-owned. So are we to believe that this small percentage makes up 100% of the advertising? Or are there white-owned corporations profiting from this content? Let's look at the Billboard hip-hop charts for the same week. 9 out of the top 20 use the N-word, but the artist at number 17 is what we need to focus on. This artist has 97 million Instagram followers, 6 million on Twitter, and billions of streams across multiple platforms. Her latest hit opens with an upbeat rap dropping the M-bomb as she reclaims the power of the world for her massive black audience. Is this okay? What if I said the artist is Billie Eilish, and by a massive black audience I mean arenas filled to the brim with suburban white kids?
What?
Why does Billie Eilish have to change an ableist slur, but her and her record label can make money off of the word they would demonize anyone outside of their political sphere or fan base for using? The answer is simple. They don't care. No one cares as long as money is being made or until they need to virtue signal for publicity. So here's the common ground. We all agree that the N-word is dangerous and antisocial. We all agree that Joe factory worker should lose his job for using it on the clock. Now, can we all agree that no one who isn't black should be allowed to make any money off that word? This means Hollywood and the music industry needs to immediately recall with a full refund every movie, every CD, and everything else that uses the N-word that wasn't purchased by a black person. All streaming services need to immediately drop any guilty content and donate all their advertising profits gained from the non-blacks listening to the racist material on their platforms. If they aren't willing to do this and prevent all future sales and streams, then all their credibility in the social justice world is lost and their hypocrisy will finally be undeniably exposed. Now, there's no difference between the Billie Eilish song and a Mammy doll. The questions we need to ask is, why is it okay for corporations to sell products to a white audience that use the N-word? And why do white millennials and Gen Z love to say it so proudly? Now, go on, hug your grandpa who wears the red hat or your trans daughter with the blue hair, because no matter what you believe politically, all that matters is friends, family, and love. Remember, everyone dies. Life's too short to be divided. Life's too short to pretend that your anger can make a change in this world. Progressive Ideas for Conservative Minds is powered by the Pacific Beach Radio Network.
Good day.